Dear students, welcome back to KPS Biotutorials. Today I would like to start with a topic namely immunology. I would like to conduct a talk series on the topic immunology from this episode onwards. You might have now some basic knowledge about immunology. In our day-to-day life, we are encountering with numerous pathogens, disease-causing organisms like viruses, bacteria, fungi, etc. But all the time we are not getting sick. What may be the reason? So, due to just an exposure to a pathogen is not causing disease in our body. It is because we have a system, namely immune system, which can resist the entry of pathogens to our body, or it can destroy a pathogen entered to our body by the system, namely immune system. So whenever our immune system fails to encounter a pathogen, then only we will get sick or we will get disease. So it is a very important system in our body which actually save our life, which protect our life from numerous pathogens we are encountering in each day. So let us discuss in detail about immune system, immunology, immunity, etc. and etc. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Also enable the bell button so that you will get instant notification when I upload the videos. So dear friends, welcome back to the topic immunology. You might have heard about the term immunity. How can we define the term immunity? It is the capacity to recognize and tolerate whatever belongs to the self and to recognize and reject what is foreign or non-self. Actually, the term immunity refers to two aspects. One is to recognize and tolerate whatever belongs to self. That is called self-recognition. Our immune system should know what is belonging to our own body and what is not belonging to our own body. The cells, molecules and organs belonging to our own body is considered as self and it should be tolerated. That means no immune response should be elicited against our own body cells, body molecules and organs. That is called self-recognition. And the second aspect of immunity is to recognize and reject what is foreign or non-self. That is the cells, molecules or organs, organisms that is not belonging to our body should be considered as or will be considered as foreign molecule or foreign or non-self, and which will be rejected by our immune system. So these two things are comprised in the term immunity. The term immunity was derived from a Latin term, namely immunis, that means exempt. And the immunology is a branch of biology that covers the study of immune systems. The term immunology was coined by the Russian biologist Ilya Ilyich Mechnikov, who received the Nobel Prize in 1908. The immune system has many functions, altogether termed as immune functions, and all the immune functions can be categorized into two categories. One is called immune recognition and other one immune response. Immune recognition can be explained as self and non-self recognition. I already told in the definition of immunity. Immunity refers to the recognition of self and non-self. So the first function of immune system is to recognize our own body cells, body molecules and organs. That is called self-recognition. And it is distinguished from a non-self or foreign body. That means our immune system can recognize the chemical differences between a foreign pathogen and from a self molecule or cells. So that is called recognition. This is the primary function of the immune system. Then the second category of immune function is immune response. That means if any particle is recognized by the immune system as a foreign particle, then it will elicit a response to reject that foreign particle from our body. This is called immune response. This immune response is of two categories, an effector response and memory response. Effector response means once a foreign organism has been recognized, the immune system recruits a variety of cells and molecules to mount an appropriate response to eliminate or neutralize the foreign organism. So whenever a foreign organism or foreign particle or a pathogen enter our body and it is recognized by the immune system as a foreign particle, then it will elicit a response, namely immune response, with the help of many molecules, cells and organs. And finally it will neutralize or eliminate the foreign organism. This is called effector response. So effector response is elicited against a pathogen in its first encounter with our immune system. Then the second type of immune response is called memory response. It is induced by the later exposure to the same foreign organism. Here, memory response, as the name indicates, it is memory response. It is something related with memory. That means this kind of response is elicited when a pathogen encounters our immune system in the second time. When a second encounter of a pathogen occurs, our immune response is of memory response, and it works based on the memory already created when the same pathogen encountered first time. And this memory response is characterized by more rapid and heightened immune reaction that serve to eliminate the pathogen and prevent the disease. Memory response will be more rapid and elevated immune response when compared with the effector response, because our immune system already have an experience in encountering that particular pathogen, because this pathogen encountered here second time. So our immune system already created a memory against that pathogen. So using that memory, our immune system can encounter this pathogen very easily and very rapidly. So here two responses, effector response and memory response. The major difference between the effector response and memory response are effector response is produced when a pathogen encounter first time, whereas the memory response elicited when a pathogen encounter in its second time. So in memory response, the immune system work based on the memory created during the effector response of the same pathogen when it encountered first time. Then about the history of the immunology. In BC 430, a great historian, namely Thucydides, wrote that only those who had recovered from the plague could nurse the sick because they would not contract the disease a second time. This is a sentence written by a great historian in 430 BC. This indicates that the people of that time had a knowledge that when a person had plague and he cured from the plague, then the person will get immunity against the plague so that that person can treat or nurse other sick persons. So this is a crude idea about immunity was existed in that time about in BC 430. Then in AD 15th century, the Chinese and Turks had a technology that they administered dried crust derived from smallpox pustules were either inhaled into the nostrils or inserted into small cuts in the skin so that the person may get immunity against smallpox. In 15th century, Chinese and Turks developed a technique that they produced dried crust derived from smallpox pustules and which is inhaled through nostrils or inserted into the small cuts in the skin. Thereby that person will get immunity against smallpox. This was a crude form of vaccine developed in 15th century. In 1881, Louis Pasteur first vaccinated one group of sheep with heat attenuated anthrax bacillus. Louis Pasteur in 1881 developed a vaccine and administered in the sheep against anthrax bacillus, and thereby the sheep got immunity against this bacteria. So this was the first vaccine developed by the Louis Pasteur in 1881. And in 1885, Louis Pasteur administered his first vaccine to a human beings, to a young boy named Joseph Mister, who had been bitten repeatedly by a rabid dog. The boy was inoculated with a series of attenuated rabies virus preparations and he lived. Louis Pasteur in 1885 developed a vaccine against rabies from the attenuated rabies viruses, and he administered it to a boy named Joseph Mister, who had been bitten by a rabid dog. After administering this attenuated rabies virus vaccine, he sustained, he lived. So this was the first vaccine administered to a human being. This experiment was conducted by Louis Pasteur in 1885. So this is about a brief history about the immunology. Now there is a list of scientists who got Nobel Prizes in the immunological research. Mr. Emil von Behring of Germany got Nobel Prize in 1901 for his immunological research in serum antitoxins, and many other scientists are here and their studies or areas of research also given in the list. You may go through the list to understand about various immunological fields which got Nobel Prizes. Now the immunity can be broadly classified into two categories: an innate immunity and adaptive immunity. Innate immunity, as the name indicates, they are innate. This immunity is innate. That means it is got by birth. During birth itself, this immunity will be there in the organisms. That is called innate immunity. The properties of the innate immunity are the following. This immunity, innate immunity, can provide the first line of defense against infection. It is the first line of defense against infections. That means before the encountering of all other immune mechanisms, this innate immunity try to prevent or defend pathogens entering our body or it causing the disease. And it will be present before the onset of infection. This innate immunity will be there in our body, or the mechanism will be there in our body even before encountering with a foreign particle. And it will be non-specific to a particular pathogen. This innate immunity is not specific to a particular pathogen. It is a generalized mechanism to prevent any type of pathogens. For example, the phagocytic cells like macrophages and neutrophils can phagocyte any, it may undergo phagocytosis of any types of pathogens. These phagocytic cells act in a non-specific manner. It may engulf any type of pathogens and destroy them. And barriers such as skin and variety of antimicrobial compounds, also examples of innate immunity. Here skin, the skin can prevent the entry of pathogens. When there is only a wound in the skin, through that wound the pathogens may enter, but through the perfect skin pathogens cannot enter the body. In this way the skin generally prevents the entry of pathogens to our body. And many antimicrobial compounds, you may be knowing that the lysozyme present in our saliva, tear, milk, etc., they can destroy pathogens. So this is a first line defense against infection and also non-specific. It is a generalized mechanism and also present even before the entry of the pathogen. So these are the features of the innate immunity. Then the adaptive immunity, as the name indicates, it is adaptive. That means it will be adapted. This immunity will be adapted after the entry of the pathogen to our body or after encountering the pathogen with the immune system. The features are, it does not come into play until there is an antigenic challenge to the organism. This adaptive immunity does not come into play before antigenic challenge, before entry of the antigen or before entry of the pathogen to our body. And it develops within 5 or 6 days after the initial exposure to the antigen. There will be a delay of 5 to 6 days to develop the adaptive immunity. So adaptive immunity will be developed after 5 to 6 days of exposure to the antigen. Then it responds with high degree of specificity. It is the most important thing about adaptive immunity. To respond with high degree of specificity, that means this adaptive immunity will be developed highly specifically to a particular antigen. So the efficiency of the immune response will be high, very high when compared with the innate immunity, because here in adaptive immunity specific immune mechanism will be developed against particular antigens. Then it can produce memory. This is another important thing about adaptive immunity. It will keep memory of the antigens they encountered. So it will be helpful for the immune system to recognize the same antigen when it comes for a second encounter. So it produces memory, it keeps memory. The major agents of the adaptive immunity are lymphocytes, antibodies, and other molecules produced by these lymphocytes and other cells in the immune system. So here the lymphocytes and antibodies are the important components of the adaptive immunity. So this is the in brief about innate immunity and adaptive immunity. So I hope all of you understood about an overview about the immune system and immunology. I will be coming back in the next episode with the remaining part of this topic. If you understood well about the topic, you like the video and share the videos. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. So I will be coming back with the remaining part of this topic. Till then, goodbye to all of you.